And now double tap the top.
To reverse.
Yay! There we go.
Right.
It's cool the way Phil talked you through that, as if he knew what was happening.
Eventually.
Okay, are we good to go?
We're good to go. Hello everybody.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, we weren't live on YouTube for the last God knows how many minutes.
Right then.
Just filming the camera. God, at the camera as usual.
Okay, look, let's get started.
I've been practicing my camera pose.
Welcome to the video segment of the Day Trippers, beaming out to you from the stationary cupboard chic of the bunker, which you can see around you. I'm Trev, Downey. I'm joined tonight by the man who knows players, that's Damo Flood. Bathroom terrorism victim Paul Brennan. The amazingly, actually not an old man when you see him in video, Dave Thomas. And knob twiddling Meg Lemon.
No, I can't look at the camera. Yeah. I'm starting it already.
Alright, okay, in the wake of Sunday's draw with Chelsea, Liverpool look nailed on for participation in the Europa League next season. So many of our listeners' questions have focused on that idea over the last couple of weeks. So we wanted to reflect the mood and we thought we'd tackle the topic now. So let's look at the advantages and disadvantages of participation. I'll start by asking everyone just for a quick reaction to the likelihood of Thursday night football next season. Who wants to take that one up to start?
As in, is it likely?
No, as in, what do you feel about it being likely?
I mean, I think it's great. I mean, I don't understand the problem with being in the Europa League. I mean, I think that we want to be in Europe. We've got two choices of getting into the Champions League next year. One of them is finishing in the top four, and the other one's winning the Europa League. Mm-hmm. There's an argument that says winning the Europa League is almost as easy or as difficult or as easy as finishing in the top four. You know, when you're trying to attract players, we're not going to be able to attract players from the top clubs. But if you're trying to convince someone that coming to Liverpool is a step up, or at least not too much of a step back, being able to play in Europe as a stepping stone to playing on a bigger stage is an attractive proposition. We've got a squad for it. That's what we spent all the money on last year. So I'm all in favour of it. The only downside is I'm not sure that the manager has learned to do squad rotation well enough to be able to do it.
Okay, well look, we'll get into the finer points of it in a minute. Damo, your initial reaction to that idea of the likelihood is now we're going to have Thursday night Europa League football. How are you feeling about that?
I'm not too keen on European football on Thursday night in Europa League. I honestly hate it. I hate everything about it, and I don't like having to play on the Sunday, the Thursday Sunday thing. It just drives me mad. Look, you're catching up on the games that are on the Saturday, so you're always chasing your tail all year. Like, people have points on the board. If it was me personally, I'd nearly have two separate squads: Europa League, FA Cup, Carling Cup squad, and then I'd have a Premier League squad. And I'd have the absolute must-play Premier League players play every single game in that Premier League, and then we can rotate players in and purely to blood them and get them game time, especially youth players or new players coming into the squad. Like, even if we kept a lot of what we bought last year, the likes of Markovic's and Lallana's, they could get a lot of football by just playing cup football. You know, so okay, we're probably not going to sell them. I'd love to see most of them sold off, but it's not going to happen. So get them as much game time in the cups.
I'd like to see most of them sold off.
I'd like to see most of them sold off. You're going to have two fucking squads then. If you're going to sell them all off.
If you win.
But I thought you didn't want to buy a squad player.
We're talking about attracting players in with European football and all. Like, Aston Villa don't have European football, and we're fucking trying to buy their players off them. Things like that, you know?
But we are the exception.
No, but we're trying to attract someone from Aston Villa, not to Aston Villa. That's why you have European football. That's why it's a step up.
Paul, we might as well continue on that argument rather than asking for more general kind of observations from yourself. What about that point Damo raises about the idea of, you know, if you're going to do this right, there should probably be a clear delineation between players who play in that competition and players who play in the Premier League.
Yeah, I'm with them. I'm fairly disgusted wearing it, to be honest.
Okay,
I'd be big time. Just I don't know about segregating players. Like, right, you're playing in the Europa League all the time. You're playing.
We definitely shouldn't segregate players.
but I'm talking about, you know, if someone's going to play a Premier League match, then, or if we're playing a Premier League match on the Sunday, then at least 8 of the players that are going to play have to be dropped. Because we've seen what happens in the Europa League. Like, Everton were shy all season, and like they're great now that they dropped out of it. Basically, United, there's not a chance they'd have gotten the top 4 this season if they were in the Europa League. Because they're crawling over the line, and like you can tell they just wouldn't have. So I'm fairly disgusted we're in it. And I'd be with Damo. I'd be properly like, that is the little reject cup where all the players who are past squad players get their game. That's where it is for me.
The last thing you want is like you've got a United or an Arsenal on a Sunday, and you've got your first 11 going out to Chernobyl or something like that to play a game. Like, you know, where the game's there, or like,
No, the European venue.
Uzbekistan or something like that.
We've missed your delicate touch. Phil, talk to me about the financial side of it. In terms of, you know, the money has improved, so that's an upside, right? Surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on, engage.
Yeah. Look, I'm the reverse of lads. I love all European football competitions. And what's made us unique over the years has been our success in Europe. Like, loads of English teams have won English Cups and English Leagues and the whole lot. But we're special in that we win European trophies. Our heritage is winning in Europe. We've won more European trophies than all the other English clubs. You know, that is the uniqueness of Liverpool, is that we were a European god, basically. We were the sort of the hallmark of what an English European side is all about. That's you know, we carried the hopes of the whole league into Europe and kept going. So to be honest with you, I don't buy this. Oh, let's ignore the Europa League. Blah 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 blah. We've been in it now. This will be our third time under Rodgers in it. Mm-hmm. What you want to see is him. No, it's the third because we're in the Europa League this year for a round when we got knocked out of the Champions League.
Tragically true, yes. Yeah.
So you know, we should be learning how to work the squad to the best of our advantage, you know, to advance in this competition. And ultimately, unlike the FA Cup and the League Cup, the Europa League has a Champions League spot for the winner. So we're talking about getting into the Champions League. You cannot discount a competition that offers a Champions League spot for the winner.
It's also overstated. We play a maximum of 12 games in the Europa League, 6 of which will be at home. So you're talking about 6 away games, of which 2 of them might be a long distance game. So the idea that every round of league fixtures is going to be impacted by us travelling thousands of miles is bullshit. It doesn't stack up. The reality is we might get 1 or 2 trips which are long. I'm all for using, you know, the squad, particularly in the group games, for games that we should win. But we should have fucking won the games in the Champions League squads, the Champions League group, and we never did. So, you know, I think the idea that we're just going to be able to throw a bunch of kids in and not get embarrassed, I just think that's...
So where do you stand on that concept of the, you know, having maybe like Damo says, almost like a separate bunch that you roll out for this competition? Is that completely disrespectful to that trophy, or should we have a different attitude to that?
I think the approach that we took this year is the right approach to take. You know, there's certain players, the spine of the team, which are going to play, and then you have alternates which come in. I think that's going to be the same next year. It's the same now. You know, if we get the right number of forwards in the summer, which we should do, then we'll have plenty of players to do it. I certainly wouldn't be going, you 14 players, you're the Premier League squad, and you 14 players, you're the Europa League squad, and never the twain shall meet. That's impractical. It's never.
No, sure, yeah, but not obviously not to that extent. But like, what about that idea? Like, you are going to have issues. I know you say there's only X amount of matches, but if we progress and if we do well, and the size of the club you'd like to think we will progress, it is a sizable amount of fixtures. So I mean,
it's 12 maximum 12 fixtures, maximum, 6 of which will be at home.
But
so what's the problem?
Isn't there a huge percentage of teams that qualify for the Europa League that don't play in Europe the next season because it's it's a load of fucking wank playing on Thursday and then Sunday? Isn't it like? I think the statistics are fairly convincing.
When you say because, you mean like they did?
But I don't think that stands up.
It's because they
it's hard to do.
I think what it is that a lot of them kind of that league form dips. Most of them aren't good enough to go ahead and kind of win the tournament and qualify automatically the following year.
Yeah.
I know it's Champions League now, but it used to be the winners qualified automatically the following year.
Yeah.
But most of their league form dips off because of it, and it's maybe, I know it's only 12 games there, but it seems to be proven over the years that most teams, like Spurs, have struggled terribly in it, and they've got a good, decent sort of squad.
But Spurs qualify every year for it.
But I
don't think they drop out of it. They may not kick on and get into the top 4, which is a unique challenge that we have. But Napoli, who are in the semi-finals, they're third in the Italian league, right? They're playing Besiktas. Is it Besiktas? I think it is in the semi-final. Dnipro, sorry. Yeah, they're second in the Russian league. So you know what I mean.
See, you don't even know who's playing.
I think Besiktas. I think Besiktas are in the
I think the point. Chernobyl. I think the point Damo makes is a good one about this Sunday match and the likelihood of playing on Sunday, because there is that psychological thing. If you are in a tight-ish race where you're trying to keep up in the top four, everyone's played and everyone's done their work ahead of you, and you know it's kind of you're following on. It's a tougher thing. What about this idea of profile and lead into the idea of attracting players and that type of thing? Basically, the point you were making, Phil, that Liverpool need to be in Europe. Do you think that has any positive effect on us?
I think when it comes to signing English players, it doesn't have that big of an impact, or players from the Premier League, because the competition is continually downgraded in the media, and they're brought up with this perception that the Europa League is some secondary competition, and it's to be just thrown aside and ignored, right? Yeah. Whereas if you're in Europe, the UEFA, the Euro, whatever it is, Europa Cup, the UEFA League, whatever it is you want to call it, right?
That trophy you really want us to get.
The First Cup there, no, genuinely, but they are seen as a serious competition. Like, you look at how serious Sevilla is taken. Look how Atletico Madrid took it when they weren't in the Champions League. Look at the way Napoli has approached it this year. Look at the way all the other teams that are in Europe, in all the big leagues. There's a reason why you see the Spanish teams, you see the German teams, you see the Italian teams now all taking this serious, because it's not just for the pride of winning the competition. There's the whole thing. The leagues are getting behind it because it affects coefficients and further Champions League places. And England has dropped in the coefficient league. You know, every time an English team sort of just ignores the competition or puts it aside, or is just happy to get out of the group stage or partake in the group stage of being in it, you know, that affects the coefficient when the other leagues are winning things. And the Italians will be mad to try to get back a 4 Champions League place at the expense of the English. Now, a couple of years ago they said, there's no way, you know, the Bundesliga will ever catch up with England. England are so far ahead of it. They have, and they've gone past the English League. And I'm not sure whether the English League or the Spanish League now are second or third, or the English League has dropped to the third spot in the coefficient. But I think it's only the top 3 leagues that get 4 Champions League spots, and then you drop down to having only 3 Champions League spots, which is what happened with Serie A in terms of performance in Europe. So you cannot just dismiss these competitions. So
what's the psychology? Is it because the Premier League is smug because it's had its 4 places almost unquestioned for ages? Yeah. Is it that smugness that's set in?
And I don't think UEFA has helped the competition in the way that they, you know, there's the spot that goes for fair play, and there's the spot for fucking, you know, the way it originally set up with the Intertoto that led into the thing, and the amount of rounds that goes on and the whole lot. If they reduced the number of rounds that the bigger leagues were in, let's say, and, you know, use as a filter to reduce down the group sizes and have it more of a Champions League style competition with less rounds and that, I think you get more buy-in, and get rid of the idea of bringing the Champions League teams into the Europa League if you come third in your group as well. Yeah. So it becomes a competition in its own right. Yeah. So, you know,
we don't have a winter break in England either, which is the other big thing. So I think that's the other thing which probably benefits, you know, some of the guys on the continent. But I don't know. I mean, I understand I do understand the logic because of what we did 2 years ago and what United have done this year, going from 7th into the top 4. I totally get why people are going. No European competition when you've got a big squad is an advantage. But we're in it, so, you know, my view is if we're in it, we should try to win it.
But the other thing that why I feel it was important to finish 5th this year is that you avoid the qualification rounds. You know, you're not starting at the start of August. Yeah, you're getting a couple of league games under your belt, and you're into the group stages, and you're just playing from the group stages on. And going back to the point, we have an opportunity to give the youngsters a run out in this.
Won't we be seeded in it as well?
Yeah,
so I think we'll be. You know, I think that should help us in the group stages as well. Get a reasonably favourable draw. You know, in that we won't go in as the 3rd. I think we win a 2nd seeds in the tournament. So, look, I understand the arguments against it, but for me, we're in it. We should try to win it.
Well, just to clarify then, because we've heard quite a few decent points in favour of being in it. You two fellas are pretty much in the fence saying, or on the far side of the fence, on the far side of the fence saying, look,
throwing rocks.
We don't want to be there. Yeah, try and knock it off, like taking pot shots at it. Just articulate for me, both of you, why it is that you don't want to be in this competition. You've dismissed this as rubbish. Like, what is it that you?
Because I think a lot of teams that go into it just affects their whole season. Like they just really struggle while they're in it.
But they're generally weaker sides who just made it in, aren't they? Not sides who would be.
They are a weak side now.
Tottenham have been worse since they got knocked out of it than when they were in it.
Yeah.
Tottenham were in. They were in the. I saw that Tottenham were in the race for the Champions League spaces till they got knocked out of it, and then they've just fucking capitulated.
Good Good luck to them. Most people, it's the other way around. like I said about Everton, like they've been like a completely different.
That's a terrible.
Okay, yeah. And I don't agree with that, like attracting better players. I think if a player's coming to Liverpool while they're not in the Champions League, it's in the hope that they're getting in the Champions League next year. I don't think they give a fuck about the Europa.
You don't think it's got any bearing? What about what about Floodie's fellow who plays for Chernobyl FC and he wants to come across? Is that not an option? Is it not something that would influence maybe people outside of the Premier League? Like the thing Phil says, the attitude to it is pretty bad there, but maybe it's not the same in other leagues.
I would say my buddy that plays for Chernobyl, like, he's getting probably 250 quid a week over there. So come over to Liverpool, he's getting a massive wedge.
Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with
But it depends who
most European football's like that. Like, they're on a lot less wages.
But it depends who Liverpool can beat them with, right? Because if you're not in the, let's say we're going up against Spurs and we're in it and Spurs are not, then we are more favourable because we're in the Europa League rather than Spurs.
Yeah.
If we're going to be seen as a stepping stone for players, you know,
great.
I'd say it's true, right? If we're going after the best young
the
players,
best we can hope for is to be seen as a stepping stone for players.
Use us, please.
That should be our
Use
strapline. Right? See Luis Suarez at Barcelona? That could be you.
Sign up in John Lennon Airport.
Sign up here.
Oh, Jesus.
Use and abuse us.
But if we are going to be seen as a stepping stone onto, one of the rich European sides, the Bayern Munichs, the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, that type of team, then to bring in young players, the idea that we're going for the best young players in Europe and bringing them in, at least having Europa football gives you something for them to continue their sort of shop window development in their minds, because they are playing in Europe. And if you impact in European competition and you're playing in the Premiership or whatever, it's two areas that you're showing up. And going back to my point, if you've got the Europa League, you can play more young players. You've got more chances to use more players through the squad. So like we're talking about, there's been, we played certain players in the Champions League because there was a view that we had to win the games, and every time we've had to win the games, we've made mad team selections around it, right? I think there's more. I thought we learned more in Rodgers' first season when he was playing the likes of Wisdom and Suso and players like that. Sterling was getting a great run in it, right? If he feels more confident in playing our potentially top young players that we have in that competition, we will benefit more from it in the long term than we will by not having that competition.
We made $6 million for John Joe Shelby just because he's got a hat-trick against Young Boys. So the Europa League was worth $6 million to us just because John Joe Shelby scored a hat-trick. That's a fact. You should see what Luis Suarez has just done in this game against Bayern Munich.
Really?
He's just. I'll show you the GIF now. We come up. He's just
okay. We're going to take some questions from the Periscopers.
Okay, anyone can
Fucking
see
YouTube broken us.
YouTube died.
Yeah. Fuck you, YouTube.
Can anyone actually see what's going on there?
Someone just wrote something about BR fucking off there, I think. I didn't get it on time.
BR could do with fucking off, I think was it.
Well, that was me. You can come there.
Hey, well, show me your head.
I can't take the whole camera.
What about this idea of Rodgers' management in Europe? You've mentioned that now this will be the third time that he's had some involvement with this campaign. Most people haven't been very impressed. I know I thought his management of the Champions League was pretty shambolic. It'd be one of the big criticisms I've had.
What's that now?
What do you reckon to that, Paul? About
yeah, he's been fairly shy in Europe, and especially this season, gone out in both competitions at the first hurdle, and that Champions League.
What do you think that is? What is it? What is it? I mean, he's supposed to be a technical coach and all that kind of thing, and have us playing type of technical football. So,
well, in the first half of the season, it didn't matter how poorly kind of Johnson, Lovren, Skirtle, and Gerrard played. They were just in the team. Remember the famous Basel lineup in the must-win, and Enrique popped up from nowhere to get a fucking game. So, I think a lot of it is kind of team selection, and there is the worry about his rotating. But that group, that Champions League group, it was ideal for getting when you're back in the Champions League. There was the one big team, Real, and then there was Basel, who are
tricky, but it should be a learning experience.
You want Liverpool to beat them, and then there was the other team that nobody had ever heard of.
Chernobyl.
Make yuppie team, and we fucked it out the window. So Yeah, I'm not sure how next season will go in the Europa League.
Sorry.
But a lot of those bad things are taken away from him now, though. Like, he won't have Johnson, he won't have Gerrard, he won't have Toure, he won't have Enrique, he won't have Downey, he won't have Lambert.
Where's Enrique going?
Oh, he's definitely going. He's got to go now. Like, he's gone already.
He hasn't been there since that match. In fairness, it's not like
so a lot of that. Look, no one knows what goes on in terms of team selections, and we're all critical of him, right? But no one's in that dressing room. We don't know what the personalities are within there. We all think it's easy to drop the likes of Steven Gerrard, for example. It's obviously not easy to do that. So a lot of those decisions do get easier for him if he's still here next season, because he simply won't have those senior players to call on. So then you are talking about him having to start putting trust in a new set of players and younger players and hopefully better players, because that
you're describing a scenario where he's going to do better despite himself rather than because of any wonderful progression by Brendan Rodgers in Brendan Rodgers.
But isn't that,
I think everything that has happened to Rodgers could be read one or two ways. Right?
But hasn't that been my argument all along? That for me, he hasn't been learning anything.
Which I disagree. But
anyway, I know you disagree.
So my point is that it could go either way.
Trev was talking there.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
My point was, anything, and to take Phil's argument, which is the debate we always have, right? You can argue that everything has happened, everything that's good about him has happened in spite of him. It's been forced on him, or he's had to, come up with it, in spite of what he'd actually want to do. Whereas the people at the other end of the spectrum who love Rodgers, would argue that he's a tactical genius and everything that's good has been because of him and everything that's bad is, not his fault. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I think he's done some good things, playing Raheem Sterling as a number 10, that was not forced on him. He did that. That was a tactical innovation that he did. The diamond was a tactical innovation that he did. And then there's other things where you go, well, playing Sterling up front on his own, loads of people were calling him for that for ages, and it was only because every other option failed that he had no choice to do it. It's only because Johnson got injured that he dropped Johnson. And Johnson, I never realised it until he's come back in now. If Johnson's fit, he plays. So there's things like that. So I don't think it's all in spite of him, but I do think he makes some decisions which he won't be able to do.
You asked the question in terms of, and I'm the counter. I'm saying I've seen 3 campaigns in Europe between Champions League and Europa, right? In terms of what's there, and I haven't seen him learn one lesson.
And yet you're looking forward to Europe under Rodgers next year.
Well, look. As I said, I'm accepting Rodgers is going to be here next season.
He will be.
And it doesn't mean that I have to look forward to Rodgers next season.
Jesus,
I'm looking forward to seeing Liverpool next season.
Yeah.
Right, I'm having an existential crisis here, I think.
And I'm looking forward to, going back to Dave's point, hopefully the biggest brush and broom ever sweeps into Melwood and just wipes out all the shite that's there at the moment, purely because it's taken away from him. Right. That they're not going to renew Johnson's contract. They're not, Enrique, they're just going to throw out the club. Borini's gone, Lambert hopefully is gone. But there's also the scary possibility that they won't be gone.
Oh,
there is that scary possibility that they won't be gone. Right?
Stop. Stop that.
Sorry, right now. Don't mind him.
No, genuine. Look, and if they're gone, as Dave's point is, if they're gone, like he has none of these lumps of dirt to fucking go to. Basically, right? Because there's no, he can't play Johnson. He can't play Enrique, he can't play these fellas anymore. So he has to play the players that come in to replace them. He has to. Otherwise he's going out with gaps. You can't go out with 9 men. You know what I mean? We're going out with 10 men. We're going out with 8 men with them on the pitch at the moment. So at least if we were going out with 11 players, that'll be a start.
Yeah. Okay.
Like a trauma victim. They'll be gone. He has to play someone. He has to. Surely.
I mean, I think he's a young manager, and I think I can understand why sometimes he thinks the playing senior players is the safest thing to do. But we've seen it over 2 years that every time he plays those players, they let him down. The point is, the next year he isn't going to have that. So I'm hoping that he will. If he's here, I hope, and I'm not as sure as Phil that he will be here. If he is here, I hope he's learned and he learns and he's given some support and some help and some feedback or whatever the fuck he needs to make him understand that there's better ways to do things.
Fair enough. I think that's pretty much a wrap on the Europa League.
So if they want any, do we want to take any questions from the people?
One lad had a question there a minute ago. Will we have to play the same wages as United to get Champions League football? I don't know who it was. That was his question.
They have to pay the same wages
as United
to get
to
Champions League
get back
football.
into Champions League football.
Oh,
Well, if you want to do it their way, you will. In terms of like they went out and tried to buy the best players that money just like money is no object, and that's the way they got into it. If you look at our model isn't to do it that way, so we have to do something completely different.
But what's interesting is, if you look at the players that got him into the Champions League, it's none of the big money guys.
Yeah.
You know, there's no reason why we couldn't buy a Daily Blind or a
Super.
Herrera. Do you know what I mean? Those are the two players that they bought that actually made the difference for him, and then Rooney, who was already there.
Falcao.
Yeah. so actually, if you look, I get the argument. The point is we've had this debate ad infinitum over the last few years.
Again.
The wages
real bunker, not in the
is
bunker.
not enough. So if you take Lacazette in Lyon, right? Everyone is going and offering 250 grand. That's all well and good. But another club will offer him that, and they'll be in the Champions League, and he'll go to them. It doesn't matter what wages is. Just you have to have the whole package to go with it, and we are not an attractive proposition. So you can keep going, or just paying 500 grand. All right, you can get to that extreme, but it's not going to happen, right? So the reality is, we can pay, and we have. We offered Sanchez the same money that Arsenal, or more money than Arsenal offered, according to reports. We were willing to pay Depay what United were willing to offer, according to reports. I don't know that. So it isn't just the wages. A player is going to go, hang on a minute, one half a season in the Champions League in 6 years, or Manchester United. And it's not about the wages.
No, but once he's out
of it in 20 years,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, so.
It's not about the wages.
fair enough. Anything else there before we finish?
Any other questions there from the hearts and the loves and the peoples?
What's that saying?
No big name manager, no big name players.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, you don't need big name players because some lads have like Son. He's only got 2 years in his name.
Why some Russians really long names?
Garabianka.
we've never signed big name players ever in the history of the club. So anyone expecting us to go and do it this summer is just mad. We've never done it.
It's
ever.
also less likely than ever to happen now. given the
But we've just
situation.
never done it. Torres is the closest we've ever done, I think, to go in and buy in a big name player. And even he was a risk when we signed him. People will go in, oh, I'm not sure he's going to hit the ground running. We just don't buy big name players.
Christian Benteke, welcome to Liverpool.
What about Collymore? That's one that's coming there.
Yeah.
He was a big name at the time.
Collymore is the equivalent to buying Benteke, actually.
Oh, there's a shout.
But nobody would want us to buy Benteke. If Collymore was playing now, nobody would want us to buy Collymore. They'd want us to go and buy Riedler or something from Borussia Dortmund at the time. Nobody would want us to buy Collymore. We don't.
No player back then though.
We'd be having this argument right now. Proven Premier League shit. That's what we done.
That's Kamara fella's supposed to be a player.
Well, exactly. That's it.
I watched him, the Norwegian fucking reserve.
Why isn't Eric Meyer getting a game? Why does Dutch international have we got instead of
Actually,
fucking Collymore, like, you know?
That's an idea.
Evans is mismanaging him.
Yeah.
We should watch a 90s match over the summer and come in and do the pod based on a 90s match.
Can we use dial-up internet as well? That'd be fun.
What's immobile like from Dortmund?
He's not very mobile.
Yeah,
That was always going to come, wasn't
Oh,
it?
doing that.
we called him the immobile cunt, but I did self-edit as I was going.
Oh, there's lots coming in there now.
What's a mobile like? Well, for I've watched him at Dortmund and I haven't been impressed with him.
Yeah.
And he's basically just slightly better Barini.
Yeah.
That's my take on him.
Yeah.
I didn't see him much in Serie A last
He's
night.
a punt, right? He's a punt.
And I think,
you know,
like, he's not getting a game now at Dortmund, and Klopp very quickly sort of has pushed him to the side.
Yeah.
Adrian Ramos, the guy they'd signed, who was sort of brought in as third choice striker, is probably at the same level as Immobile was.
there's only one striker we should be taking from Dortmund. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll sign Immobile.
Huh?
We'll sign Immobile. That's what we'll
Marco
do.
Reus.
Marco Reus.
Yeah.
Okay, one more.
One more.
We should never sign an Italian player again.
Agreed.
Apart from Pirlo.
There's that segregation again.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Son,
It's racist.
Ings, Milner, Benteke. Well, Ings and Milner look likely. I don't think the Son thing is.
It is
actually-
grim, isn't it? Really,
It's
lads?
horrific.
It is grim.
What's horrific?
Danny Ings.
That little shopping list is pretty
James
fucking
Milner
grim.
looking for the last big payday of his career.
We've done
Just
that.
Henderson light.
He's better than Henderson. He's better than Henderson.
Oh,
Fight!
I didn't hear that pin drop.
I know, yeah. I've never seen Paul just go.
Oh God!
I said this last week. I said it last week. Oh. He's better than Henderson.
So I think that's it.
Yeah.
What's that say?
Well said.
Mid-table player to
Yeah.
mid-table manager. Well said.
Well said,
Well said. Keep up with all these.
Damo wants to join in. Look, he's getting straight on the periscope. Hang on a second, I'm getting in here. Throwing a load of suggestions.
Right, let's
Right
wrap
then,
it
we're
up.
done.
Good luck.
Good luck, we have to turn it off though. There's no point just
Someone-
waving.
someone-
Do you have to wave?
Can you all turn your periscope off, please?
Wave gesture.
Just still continue looking at the camera in the face.
Yeah.